Wow, what a long day. We started our morning off with a Nintendo Direct, and we finished it with a PlayStation State of Play. These two broadcasts could not have been any different. The first one was a very long 40-minute Nintendo Direct, and the other one was a 20-minute PlayStation State of Play. One had a lot of games on it, at least 40 plus games, while the other one had less than 20. And yet the one with the less amount of games and the one that was the less amount of time, in my opinion, was the better of the two broadcasts. The Nintendo Direct this morning wasn't bad, and there was some good games that they talked about, but it just felt like it was a lot of redundant stuff and a lot of games that felt the same, whereas PlayStation State of Play had a bunch of games that fit a variety of different gamers. And between the two of them, there were still a lot of good games on both of them, so I'm not going to complain because we got good games all around. Even if some of the games weren't for me, there were still a lot of good games that came out of these two different broadcasts. So I'm obviously a PlayStation channel, so we're going to talk about the State of Play, and we'll talk a little bit about the Nintendo Direct at the very end, just real quickly. But let's just get right into it, and let's talk about everything that was announced during the State of Play today. So the first game they showed off was Tekken 8, which looked so good. We got to see a little mixture of cinematic and gameplay. I think the game isn't going to look exactly the way that the first showcase of it looked like, but there was this glimpse of the gameplay in it. There was some qualities of cinematics, obviously, but the gameplay was there, and they made Tekken 8 look so good. I am impressed. I'm not a big fighting games fan. I don't play a lot of fighters, but Tekken 8 looked good. The water physics of the rain hitting the characters' faces and seeing it go down their face, and just everything that the game looked like graphics-wise was just beautiful, and I want it. I want it right now. And it made me excited for another Tekken game that's coming out. Even though I have not played many of the Tekken games in this series, this may be an entry point for me to be able to get in and play it, and I just thought that it was a great way to start off the PlayStation State of Play. So another game that we got was a Yakuza spin-off game called Like a Dragon Ishin, which looked really good. It was a hack-and-slash action game. We got to see some of the environments that the game was going to be taking place in. We got some cinematics, we got some gameplay, which I think is a huge plus for this State of Play, was that there was a lot of gameplay for everything we saw. And this was one of those moments where I didn't just have to guess what the game was going to be like. I got to see what it was going to be like. And I could tell as soon as the gameplay showed up, I was like, that's a hack and slash. I will love the shit out of that game. It had, swords, guns, unique characters, Japanese lore. It had everything that I want in a game. So I'm excited for that. Another game that was kind of set in that Japanese style world, with the showcasing of Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade looks like a graphically stunning Final Fantasy style game that was originally listed as Project Eve, and so the game is finally given a name called Stellar Blade. It looks gorgeous. The environments were the first thing that I noticed. There was a desert environment showcased. There were some city areas showcased. The gameplay looks amazing. It looks like another RPG style game. So yeah, I mean, it was set in the same Japanese lore type world, and it just looked really good. A lot of these games are showcased from Japan, so a lot of what we saw today in the State of Play were Japanese style stories and games, and that's pretty cool. And then we also got, I guess our third Japanese style game with Rise of the Ronin, which is made by Team Ninja. It had some gorgeous gameplay. As soon as it showcased him just flying on this mechanic thing, going to the city with the water in the background as he was flying over, it instantly hooked me. Team Ninja is an amazing company who's made some of my favorite games like the Ninja Gaiden series, and as soon as I saw Rise of the Ronin, I was like, damn, this game looks so good. It's got styles of the Assassin's Creed series and Ghost of Tsushima, and I could tell what the game was like. The gameplay was there, but Rise of the Ronin looked really great, and like I said, we had 3 games there that were all just really cool Japanese style games. We got a look at Hogwarts Legacy again, but this time we were showcased a special PlayStation exclusive mission that has to do with Hogsmeade, which looks cool. I'm I'm hesitant to want to get the game for a lot of reasons, but you know, it looks good. The game looks amazing. I really want it. I do want to play this game. I'm not sure if it'll be a game I play day one though. But it's cool to see that we're getting some exclusive content coming to the game in the form of the Hogsmeade mission. Of course, it's PlayStation exclusive content, which I know some people don't like the exclusivity stuff, but I'm down for it. I get to play it regardless. Then we had a random genre make its appearance in this state of play. We had a lot of like RPG and fighting and action and hack and slash and all this stuff, and then in a fighting game, obviously. And then we got a racing sort of game into the state of play. A game called Pacific Drive, which is coming out in 2023, has you driving in an apocalyptic setting. We got some cinematics of showing the world itself and the driving around the environment, and then we got, boom, right into the gameplay. Yet again, with this state of play, was the key was all of the gameplay we kept getting, and I think that really is what made this state of play better than the Nintendo Direct in a lot of ways. We did get some stuff for Nintendo Direct when it comes to cinematics and gameplay, but I just felt like some of their heavy hitters just didn't hit with gameplay. It was less of it than what we should have got. But this new game, Pacific Drive, had a lot of unique elements to it with the driving. We didn't see a whole lot about the game, but we did get to see some gameplay that showcases, you driving through these apocalyptic settings, and that looks cool. Can't wait to see what that game looks like when it's fully launched. And then, of course, they showed us at the very end of the state of play the God of War Ragnarok. They gave us a very in-depth look of the more cinematic stuff, the story, and the gameplay. The game it ended on the best note. I think that was one thing that Nintendo Direct and State of Play did well, is they both ended on the highest notes. I think Zelda ended with less than what it should have. I think we should have saw more gameplay and more look at the game. Though it's still coming out 9 months from now, I still feel like since this game's been out for so long for announce-wise, we should be seeing more from this game. But God of War is coming out a lot sooner, so I get why we saw more of it compared to Zelda. But the God of War game looked great. We got a special controller coming out with it, which I probably will get day one if I can get a hold of one. And it just looked great. I'm super excited about that game. We did get 2 random PlayStation VR 2 games. One was Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which looks to put you in the world of Star Wars, playing as, I'm guessing, some kind of like rogue type of person. It looked cool. I like games in the Star Wars universe, and I like some VR games, and I would like to be able to play more VR games, so this one kind of got me interested. And then we got a tabletop RPG game called Demeo, which looked really cool. I was kind of impressed how much I was interested in this game when I saw it, because I'm not really big on tabletop RPGs, but this one piqued my interest, and I can't wait to see more on that game. When it comes to the things that I just didn't care about to the Direct, there's really only 2 things that I just was like, okay, cool. And one was Sin Duality, which is a mech RPG shooter type game. It looked cool, but I just don't know if it's for me or not. It looked like any other mech type game. And then, of course, they talked about their loyalty program, PlayStation Stars, which is just NFTs that you unlock for doing things. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out, or if I even care. Or I'm pretty sure this will be yet another PlayStation canceled program that they end after nobody gives a crap anymore. And that was pretty much it for the PlayStation State of Play. It was very short, 20-minute video, but it did hit on all the things that I thought that it should have at the time. Obviously, we were made aware that this wasn't like a PlayStation Studios State of Play. So people who went into it with the expectation of, we want Spider-Man, we want Jak and Daxter, we want Sly Cooper, we want Ghost of Tsushima 2, you were going into it expecting something that you obviously weren't getting no matter what, because you don't pay attention. But for what it was, we got a lot of pretty unique games that I'm kind of excited to see more about in the future. And a lot of the games we aren't getting until next year or further than next year. So that was probably the biggest downside, is everything that we got shown today was nothing we could have our hands on within the next couple of months. When it comes to Nintendo Direct, the best thing about it was most of the games we saw were going to be within the next 5 to 6 months. So there was some things we were going to get sooner, some things are going to be a little bit later. Just a quick rundown of some of my favorite stuff from the Nintendo Direct. We got a new Fire Emblem game called Engage, which is coming out in early January. It's coming out in late January. The game is the next step in the series. It looked cool. Graphics were great. The character designs were great. And I'm a big fan of the Fire Emblem series, so I'm excited to see where that goes. We got a new Fatal Frame game called Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, which is coming out early 2023. It's the next game in this series. I love Fatal Frame. I love any type of psychological horror. And this game just looked cool right off the bat. We got Octopath Traveler 2, which is a game I didn't expect to get a sequel of, but I'm glad we are getting one with a brand new set of 8 characters and a whole new steampunk world that we're going to get to explore in the revolutionary time frame with all of like the clockworks and trains and all that stuff. We got a closer look at Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope, another look at Bayonetta 3, which I'm very excited about because both games look like they're going to be fantastic and just as fun as the previous games in the series. The Nintendo 64 stuff was awesome. We're getting 3 Mario Party games. We're getting 1080 snowboarding. We're getting Excitebike 64. We're obviously getting Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, which just really gives me the most joy in the world because those are 2 of my favorite games on the N64, and they have the mini games that I love so much. And then, of course, we got GoldenEye 007, which everybody is wanting to play, and it's going to have multiplayer online, which just is the piece de resistance. Then we got a very small look at Pikmin 4, which they might as well have just not even talked about the game at this point because it just was a title screen and it's third person this time. And they gave us more look at their stupid Pokemon Go ripoff version game that they were making, which at this point, how many more of these games do we really need? Then we got a look at a new game called Master Detective Archives Raincode, which is made by the studio who made Shimigami, from the studio who made Danganronpa, and it looks super cool. It's got detective stuff, it's got Japanese lore, it's got Shinigamis and yokai, and it's just up my alley. It literally is a game for me. So I'm just so excited to see that on this Direct this morning. We got a release date for Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which it's cool, it's coming to Nintendo Switch, but obviously I'm getting it for PlayStation 5, so very glad to see that it's getting a release date this year. We got another Kirby game that nobody was asking for, but we got it anyways with Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe coming out in February. Even though it's another Kirby game, we already have 4 Kirby games or more on the Switch. I'm still going to play it, but we didn't necessarily need a new Kirby game, but I'm excited for that nonetheless. And then the last but not least, the greatest thing that came out of this Nintendo Direct was, of course, Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which we got a release date of May 12th of 2023. It looks good. We got a little bit of more gameplay for it, but it just wasn't enough, in my opinion, to really give me the excitement I need outside of a name and release date. I felt like this game definitely could have saved this Nintendo Direct if they would have just spent more time on it. I know it's still 9 months away, but at this point it's been 3 years in the making, so even just 5 more minutes of gameplay or, a scene or something would be better than just seeing another small glimpse of gameplay and then a quick trailer into the end. For me, the state of play was definitely more enjoyable. There was a lot more things that I found myself being excited over, but that's it. That was all the games that got announced today. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation content and other video game stuff. If you haven't already, checked out the new video that I released this morning of the 10 best GameCube games that you should be playing right now. So thank you all. I will see you all next time. I'm going to go back to playing some video games myself, and I will see you guys next time.